everybody, this is Mark Corradetti, and I am in the middle of driving from Jacksonville, Florida, back home to Sarasota, so I'm kind of captive. I kind of wish I was on my Road King today, because it's a picture-perfect day, especially for riding. There's not much traffic. It's awesome. Anyway, this video and this week's question was very interesting and very realistic to my life. It's about playing fretless bass. What kind of tips do you have? Well, my first long scale bass was a fretless bass that I bought. It was like some put together thing, and didn't have lines on it, and so I was kind of forced to learn how to play in tune right from the get go. Back then, I was reading Carol K books and playing half notes and just doing whatever. So I had a pretty good background in that. Then I didn't play for a long time. Didn't play, this is 1,000 years ago, So now I've just gotten a new fretless bass. It's got lines on it, and by Dan Lakin, excellent bass builder. Anyway, what I'm going through right now is I'm trying to reacquaint myself. So I've got a little experience, several years, I guess, 1,000 years experience. I'm looking at what is required. And it's the 3 T's again: time, tone, and taste. But I have to add a 4th T to fretless playing, which is tune. Playing in tune. The most important thing. So what I'm doing is I'm playing whole notes, half notes, listening, making sure I'm playing in tune, getting used to the instrument. Where do I put my fingers in order to be in tune? There's nothing worse than an out of tune fretless player. So break it down, keep it simple, play in tune, go back, get that sound. Once you've been playing for a few years, you kind of know what people expect from you, and that's what you want to practice. That's what you want to get out of your tone, is the kind of fretless tone that you hear, with players that you admire. I wouldn't recommend going just all out, getting all jocko about it and stuff. But if that's what you want to do, I would start slowly. I would start playing in tune and playing half notes and quarter notes and whole notes and really get yourself acquainted with the instrument. So, other than that, what you make with it is up to you and purely an individual. I'm sorry for the camera. I'm trying to drive here, but 80 miles an hour. But play it in tune. Take your time. Do it right. Use your ears. Don't use your ears. That's my biggest thing. Anyway, have a great day, and have a safe day. I know I'm going to try, and we'll see you next week with the next question. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bass Chat family. Roy Vogt. I'm just coming in from some gardening, and I picked up my fretless bass. My most recent acquisition, which is basically a Jocko clone bass, in the sense that it's got 60s jazz spacing in terms of the pickups, the bridge pickup, and it's also got an alder body maple neck. The only concession to difference is that this has an ebony fingerboard, but it's got that phenolic hard finish. So, if you're first getting a fretless electric bass, you might be surprised at what I'm getting ready to say, because this is obviously a Jocko clone bass. But you don't necessarily want to just chase after one tone. I mean, it's nice to be able to find that tone. In this case, slightly more bridge pickup, a little bit of high end rolled off. And of course, the other thing about this is try to find your own tones. You can go you can go and move up toward the front pickup, and you can even put flat wound strings on it, which is kind of a fad that a lot of guys do with these. I don't, because I've always found you can get a little darker tone out of round wounds and you're fine, but you can't always go the other way and get a lot of brighter tone out of flats. You can, but they're just different. So mainly just be your own explorer on this instrument. The other thing is, just like any other fretless instrument, I play double bass as well. One of the things that I recommend you do is a lot of scale work, and you can do really mundane stuff. Like I can do a G major scale and check against the open D below it, or the same thing with the others. You notice one thing I'm saying to not do is practice with a tuner, because I don't think that, personally, I think if you practice and you're looking at yourself with a tuner, you stop listening and you start looking at the tuner. Always better to trust your ears with this stuff. Once again, sort of a controversial subject. A lot of guys really don't like lines on their fretlesses. I do, because I'm looking at it and thinking probably the most famous fretless bass player of all is Jocko, and he did this because he took the frets out of a neck, but at the same time it helps you to be in the general vicinity of where a note needs to be to play it in tune. Now, you still got to use your ears. You can't look and determine whether you're in tune or not. Anyway, that's wish all of my Bass Chat family a happy Sunday, and see you further down the road. Keep it low.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually very excited about this week's question because I have had a 6-string fretless bass since I was 10 or maybe 11. And I am in no way a master of it. And in terms of a 6-string fretless, I think everyone in the bass community will have to agree that Mr. Steve Bailey is the authority on that instrument. It is just miraculous what he can do. But for me, since I've had it so long, and as I've said before, I've never had an instructor or a teacher or been to a music school or anything, that bass has never been used for anything except playing in church. I've never used it for anything except that. And with learning how to play intuitively and from listening to my mother, who's a pianist, it's I'd say natural to me, even though now that been playing professionally with a 4-string fretted, it's different, but it feels natural to me when I do play it. And like I said, I'm interested in what everyone else is going to say because I don't have a lot of secrets or tricks or anything. I, as a rule, place my finger either directly on the dot or directly center, and then subtly change the intonation if need be. So that's all that I have, and like I said, I'm eager to learn what everyone else is going to say for their answers, and hopefully it'll make me a better bass player in general, and also more competent on my fretless. Thank you for the question. I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Please stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
So, you just got a fretless. What should you focus on? What's some practice tips? I am sure all the other panelists said the same thing as me, which is intonation is king. It doesn't matter if you have the fastest technique or the best vibrato, but if you're out of tune, you're out of tune, and nothing's going to sound good. So you have to work on your intonation. If you have a fretted bass or a guitar or a piano or anything that you can record with, this is really helpful. I would start with something simple like the C major scale. We always do that. It's a good starting spot. Take the C major scale, use whatever recording device you can, even on your phone, or if you're lucky enough to, for your guitar or bass, have a looper with the fretted instrument or the piano, whatever. Play the scale really slowly, like use whole notes at like 80 beats per minute. Record that, and then go back, maybe record it, if you can't loop it, record it a couple times, going up and down. Then pick up your fretless, play along with it, match pitch. What you're going to be training yourself to do is how to make little adjustments to either make the note sharp or flat. After a while, you're just going to be able to hit that note. You're going to hit that C on the A string right on. But it helps having that reference tone. So starting with something like scales, whole notes, really long, slow tempos, then maybe work up the tempos a little bit, maybe work in some eighth notes, play every note of the scale twice. Run through as many scales as you know, and don't just stay in C. I mean, you just have to try all keys, all scales you know. Another thing that's helpful, if you're a reading bass player, is take a piece that you've been reading, violoncello suites, play them with a fretted instrument, like fretted bass, record them, and then sight read along with your fretless. See how close you get. See if there's, and you have to really be good at listening, like critical listening. Maybe you'll have to record that, you playing along, so you later can go back and listen and say, oh, weird, every time I play the F sharp, I'm out of tune. That can direct your practice and your focus. The biggest thing, just work on intonation. Don't try to, necessarily get out of the gate and try to do all the Jocko or Pino's licks. Just work on intonation. Walk first before you start to run. And your bandmates will love it. The engineers on your projects will love it. And of course, you will love it because what you play will sound great. So that's my biggest advice for you. Just work on your intonation by playing along with recordings with instruments that are solidly in tune. I think that'll help you. I think you have a good experience, and it'll go faster than you think. I promise you. It's not going to be this laborious thing. A little focused study, taking it slow at first, and you, in no time at all, you're going to have really good pitch memory, and no one plays perfectly. You're going to learn how to make adjustments, really quick, subtle adjustments to fix the intonation. If you feel like, oh, that's a little sharp, you'll know how to make an adjustment and how much of an adjustment to make. So all this is important. I hope you find value in this. And it's a beautiful instrument, so expressive. It really unlocks a whole world of colors and expressions that you can get out of a bass. So I applaud you for getting the fretless. Now get to work.